try to start a rebellion against Moshe. They don't try, they actually do it. And Korach gathers 250 men, and essentially the message is that Moshe appointed his brother on his own. It wasn't Hashem's directive. And besides, why is Moshe holier than anyone else? Why is Aaron holier than anyone else? Korach wants to be the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't end well. But part of the process is they're told, why doesn't every Shevet bring a stick and we'll do a test? And tomorrow morning, the staff that sprouts and actually starts to blossom, that tribe where it comes from, well, no, they're the ones that are destined to be the Kohanim. And they did that. And the next morning, as you can imagine, the only one that blossomed was Aaron's stick. Now, Torah tells us that it vayigmo shkedim, which means it sprouted almonds. And we're going to talk on this matter what almonds represent, and in general how processes work to go from the spiritual to the physical. Or more specific, how do blessings work? How does davening work? How do you get from potential to practical, from some reservoir of energy into applicable blessings or things that we need in life? So he begins with a question. The pasuk says that Aaron's stick sprouted, and now you have almonds. You have to understand, why is it specifically almonds? It could have been anything. Well, why is that? What's the meaning or the significance and the fact that it's almonds? And he explains that the unique beauty about, or the quality of shkedim, is that they ripen faster than any other fruit. Shkedim is almonds. They are the quickest. They're quicker than fruit. They're quicker than wheat, whether it's olives or it's grapes, figs. All of these things, they take time. They sit for a while. It takes time till it starts to sprout. Shkedim, almonds, they go very quickly. The Medrash says in Kehelis that what's the siman of almonds? It's a 21-day process. Okay? From when it starts until it actually bears fruit is 3 weeks. 21 days is a very, very short time to produce anything. And that's why the name of it is actually called shaked, shkedim, because the word shaked in Hebrew means diligent and fast. There's different references in Yirmiyah when Hashem is talking about what he's going to do. He uses the term shaked or shaked, doing quickly. And another example, shaked ani dvarei la'aseh, say I'm serious, or I'm diligent on my words to actually fulfill them.
Shkita comes from that, it's a related word?
No, it's different spelling, but shkida is a term that's used with a kuf. It's a term that's used for diligence and study. Hasmada and shkeda, I mean, a person's focused and they're not procrastinating. So the idea of the almond sprouted represents that it's quick. It's something that doesn't have any obstacles or challenges along the way. It starts, it goes, it gets done. Figs, for example, take time. They have to ripen. They have to be in there for a while. It's a process itself. In general, in Hebrew, words are not just descriptive terms, but they're indicators of what it's about. Sorry, it's not just reference terms, they're descriptive terms. So a table, in English, we just need a word to call it a table, so we said table. In Hebrew, shulchan represents the energy that's in it, or whatever else it may be. A name is very, very telling, a real name. It's supposed to be that way. And by people as well, when you have a name of something, a person's name in Hebrew is the energy of their neshama. It's talking about what type of person they are, what type of neshama they have. They may not realize it, and you may have people that have the same name and they're very different personalities, but there's something about the name of a person which tells you who they are, what type of person they are. You have stories about Tanoim that were traveling. One particular story, they came to a hotel and they saw the name tag, or they asked the person, the clerk, what's your name? And he said, Kedar. Kedar? Well, they said a name. And Kedar. And they gave them their money, their wallets to watch overnight. There's bandits, whatever else. 2 out of the 3 gave him their wallets, or their pouches of money. One of them didn't. I think it was Rabbi, did not give it to him. And in the morning, when they came to check out, they said, "We have our pouches back." And he's like, "What pouch? What are you talking about? What do you mean? There's nothing you could do. It's you against them. There's no cameras, there's no anything." And they asked, if it was Rabbi or whoever it was, they asked him, "How did you know not to give it to him?" It's obvious. He said his name was Kedar. And Kedar reminded me of Kidor Tapuches Hema. Like that generation, when it talks about in Torah, that they were so bad and they were rebellious and just bad people. When I heard that, I said, "Hey, this name, he's not a good person. I'm not giving it to him." Now, we don't have the ability to look at somebody and say, "Hey, your name is, you're gone." But a Tana could say, "Oh, this name represents something that's negative." Because the name of a person is very telling. Even though we don't choose our own name, usually, unless you get a bris when you're an adult and you have that chance to choose. But generally speaking, it's given to us. But that is indicative of who you are, what your neshama is like, and so on. That's why, God forbid, if somebody's not feeling well, and it's a life and death situation, in some extreme cases, they'll add a name to the person. They'll add, let's say, Chaim, because Chaim means life. They want to give him more life. Or they'll add Rafal, because it means health. Or something like that. Yerachmiel is compassion. Something that you want to add. It doesn't need any extra names.
Well, it did. That's why it's Aaron Chaim.
It was added later?
It wasn't added later.
It was right away because you were born like that.
There you go. And it worked. Chaim means life, Baruch Hashem. Yeah. Every day, miracles every day.
After you already recovered. The priest was
okay. But the point is that in Hebrew, names represent something. They say what it is. So almonds are called almonds because they're quick. 21 days and it's ready. What's the connection here to quick? Aaron and the general, the Kohanim, when they do things, they're quick. In the sense that when they give a bracha, Birchas Kohanim, there's 2 ways to get a bracha. You can get a bracha, a blessing. Something is bestowed upon you or somebody, but it doesn't happen. It's going through a very long process. Eventually, it'll get to him. So somewhere in some spiritual world, they have received this blessing, but on the way down, somewhere it's either stuck or it's on its way. For example, why do we go to a tzaddik to daven? To ask him for a bracha. Daven to Hashem. Why do we ask him for a bracha? Bracha means to bring forth. He has the ability to see things that are going on in the spiritual worlds. And he sees that this person, let's say he's asking a bracha for health. He sees that they have health in their cards, there's health. Okay. But for some reason, it's not playing out here. They're not healthy. So the tzaddik has the ability to bring it down. It's already there, it's bringing it down. That's what a bracha is. A bracha means to bring forth. It's there, it's blocked, I'm going to make it come forth. I'm bringing it down, not creating it. Davening is creating. We say Yehi Ratzon. It should be Hashem's will. What is it? It should be Hashem's will. It's not Hashem's will now. And I'm asking through prayer, which is the power of prayer, to create this new reality. They don't have health in their whatever it is. But because I'm davening, and Hashem will answer my prayers, will make it happen. Now, tzaddik davens is even more. But there's 2 stages. There's a bracha, which is bringing down something that already exists, or there's a tefillah, which could create something which is not even here. When Aaron HaKohen, when the Kohanim give the priestly blessings, when they give the brachas, so you're giving a bracha, right? That bracha happens right away. It doesn't get stuck. Okay? Normally, you have there's 4 worlds, and each world, spiritual worlds, each world has 10 stages to it, known as the spheres. And it doesn't just go from level 1 to level 10 automatically. It goes through stages. It develops or undevelops until it gets to this stage. So Hashem's kindness is something called Chesed Da'atzilus. It starts off in the highest world, which is very spiritual, and there aren't even any angels in that realm. And there's kindness there. Now that has to go down the 10 levels of that world, and then it goes into the next world, which is Bria, and so on and so forth. We don't have to get into the whole Kabbalistic references here, but the point is that it goes through a process, and anywhere along this process, it could stop. It's still there. You have it, right? He says this will help us understand why we daven every day. Say in davening, Shemon Esrei, Refa'enu Hashem, right? Give us health, healing, or Baruch Aleinu, which is the blessing for livelihood, Parnasa. or many of these other blessings. We also know that on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem decides everything is going to be with us. Right? Hashem decided how much money you're going to make this year. It was the day of judgment. A lot happened on Rosh Hashanah. And Yom Kippur was signed. So now, 6 or 8 months later, you're davening for what? It's done already. What's the point? So he says, because there's this process, every single day there's judgment. Am I deserving to get that blessing to me? It's there. It was done. Like the money's there. But will it arrive to me? Will I get it or not? Because sometimes you could have that. Unfortunately, there could be that blockage. So Aaron is ACA same letters as Nireh, another name, Aaron, right? Aaron is the same letters as Nireh, right? Which means to see. See means it's clear, it's here. It's not some, theoretically speaking or practically, but somewhere in some explanation, I have to tell you that it's there. You could see it. Because Aaron's blessings represent quick. It's transparent. I give it, you receive it. It's not just some kind of Shoshana. It's how much money you're going to make. You'll get it or you won't get it. There's a mimer that the Rebbe talks about this. The Rebbe says somebody once came to the Baal Shem Tov. A couple didn't have children for many years. They tried everything. Came to the Baal Shem Tov. Blessing for kids. Baal Shem Tov said they were very, very rich, this couple. Very wealthy. Shem Tov said, if you will take if you'll agree to be poor, I'll give you children. I'll bless you with children. And they did. They had to think about it. I think he wanted him to go ask his wife, whatever it was, but I think his wife was there. Once they agreed, they were blessed with a child. I think children. What's this idea? Like you pay for it? Like how does it work? Because some people are blessed with all three, which is Bonei Chayim Mizayim, children, health, and livelihood. Kids, and that means nachas from the kids and all these other things. And health, life, which is health, and money. Some people only have two of those three, or one of those three. The tzaddik has the ability to switch. This person has it. He sees he has money, but he doesn't have children. I can't create for in that case. I can't create for you both. We're all three. You're healthy and wealthy, but I could switch it if you want. We'll switch it to children, which they wanted, and they got the children. So sometimes it's there, but there's some room for how it's going to play out, and there's ability to switch it or to make it come quicker and so on. So that's why I daven. We daven every day, 3 times a day, because there's a lot of judgments going on. How is it going to come? Even though it was already decided. Aaron represents going beyond all that. You don't have to go through all these stages, because the only time you have judgment is if you only have 2 out of 3. So it's a question of which one is going to come. How is it going to come? But if all 3 are there, it's called a lack of. It's not constrained. There's abundance, and then it flows. So generally speaking, because things have to go, blessings, energies have to go from step to step, it's a process, and we're davening for that process to happen quicker and not to have any obstacles. Like the idea of shketin, like the idea of what Aaron represents. Now, as a side note, as Yidden, we know that the koyach, the power of tefillah, is very, very strong. And even if something is not meant for that person, you could create a new reality. That's why it says that even if a person has a sharp sword against his neck, in other words, it's over, he should never give up and give up on Hashem's compassion. It looks like there's no hope at all, but Hashem could, if he decides, he'll change it. Right? But the story that the Navi came to the king and he told him, say goodbye, you're going to die. Say he didn't get married, and he didn't want to get married, and the reason is because he saw in the future that he's not going to have, his children are going to be bad children. So he didn't want to get married. So he told him, you're going to die. So the king looked at the prophet, which was higher than the king, and he said, what do you mean, there's no chance? I mean, like, can we work something out? So he said, no, it's already decreed. I'm the prophet. I'm telling you what Hashem said. So you basically have some notice, but you're going to go. He said, get out of here. I have a tradition that the power of tefillah, the power of davening is always there. So get out. He kicked him out of his room. And he turned to the wall. He was very sick. He turned to the wall. He started to daven, and daven, and daven, and daven. And the decree was reversed. The Navi told him, listen, you have these calculations. You don't want to have children because you know that your children are going to be bad. That's not your business. You do your part. Hashem will take care of his part. Don't not have children because of that. And ended up having children, and they were not good children, they were grandchildren. But the point is that he davened. And the Navi already said specifically for him that he's going to die. And he was able to change it. So just like we talk about the fact that we needed to come down because it could get blocked, we also have to realize that even if it's not there at all, davening is such a powerful thing. Hashem could do it for us, even if it wasn't decreed on Rosh Hashanah, even if it's already been. The whole thing, it's signed and sealed. It's much harder to change it, right? To undo it, but it's possible. But let's hope we just go quickly. We don't have to do any of these other. Thanks everyone for joining in person and online. See you soon.
Thank you very much.